She came to him in silent anguish and clasped and he cried to her, Savitri, a pang cleaves through my head and breast. So he is feeling intense pain in his breast, in his head also. In the Mahabharata story, Vyasa story, Savitri, he says that as if the arrows are piercing through my head. He speaks of the arrows piercing through it. But here, head and breast, both. A pang cleaves through my head and breast, as if the axe were piercing it and not the living branch. So he is wielding the axe, trying to chop off the wood branch, but it is not the tree which is feeling the pain, it is I who am feeling the pain, you see. As if the axe were piercing it and not the living branch. Now, this is a little puzzling thing. He says, cleaves through my head and breast, which is quite understandable, both, yeah. Because he is emotionally charged, heart is tired also, so to say, and all that, you see. There is intense heat. Were piercing it. It is not them, it is it. It is it. Were piercing it. What is that it? Breast, heart, yeah. It is that which is, and that is what we have earlier also, no? Life's hard course. There is a kind of consistency in the whole description. See. That it is very wonderful, I will say. No? And not the living branch. Well, that is understood. See. Such agony rends me, as a tree must feel. Yes, I am feeling such pain. Now again, we can see very clearly, rents me as a tree must feel. It is a question of feeling. Heart. Again, the tree is feeling. I feel. Where do I feel? Heart. Such agony rents me as a tree must feel when it is sundered and must lose its life. He is seeing the death. Lose its life. Now, of course, my friend is not very happy that Satyavan should go to the forest and cut living trees. See, it is anti-environmentalist approach. You go and cut living trees? No, it's not palatable at all to the present mind. That green trees you go and chop off like that for wood or fire or whatever it is you see. But it's a living tree which is cutting, not dead branches. Because the tree is feeling the pain, not a dead branch. The tree is feeling pain. So Narad is not happy about this one. And then he says, no, it cannot be a living branch, it must be a dead branch. Dead branch of a tree, you see. Yeah. So there is a little dilemma. I mean, was he really cutting the tree like that? While let me lay my head upon thy lap and guard me with the hands from evil fate. He is anticipating already that evil. Perhaps because thou touchest, death may pass. He is anticipating the healing touch of Savitri. He is kind of sensing very strongly that if there has to be protection for him, that protection will come only from her. If he is going to meet an evil moment, it is she alone who can guard him against that. See. And guard me with thy hands from evil fate. Perhaps because thou touchest, death may pass. Well, that is the power of the touch of Savitri. That is the power of the touch of Savitri. If she touches you, then death cannot touch you. Death cannot touch you. See, if Savitri touches you, death cannot touch you. So I think we have to live constantly in the presence of Savitri and let her physically protect us from all evil, from fate, even from death. See. Then Savitri sat under branches wide, cool, green, against the sun. Not the hurt tree, which his keen axe had cloven. That she shunned. She avoided that tree. The tree branch which you are chopping, that big tree, that she shunned, obviously. And she is sitting under another tree. Another tree of what kind? A fortunate kingly trunk. Fortunate kingly. The she shunned, but leaned beneath the fortunate kingly trunk. She guarded him in her bosom and strove to soothe his anguished brow and body with her hands. Cool. He is perspiring profusely. There is pain, there is perspiration. Therefore, under a shady tree, thick shady tree. Now, this fortunate kingly trunk. Well, fortunate. We shall say, of course, that the kingly trunk. Huge big tree. That's what it means. The tradition is, it is the banyan tree. Water Savitri, we call it water. Huge big banyan tree. And it's a tree which cannot be easily cut also, you see. So it is under the banyan tree she is taking him. And he is resting in her lap under that banyan tree. Kingly trunk, huge, big, majestic trunk. Fortunate. So, fortunate is a sign of the banyan tree. Whenever there is the banyan tree, it means that it is fortunate. See the way in which it multiplies, it throws its own branches and grows, you see, like that. The way in which it grows, you see. And of course, the fig or the banyan tree is very small, and it is from that tree a majestic tree comes out. See. It is a tree which is celebrated in the scriptures, Ashwatha tree. Ashwatha tree. What a banyan tree, Ashwatha. And the Gita speaks of it as a tree whose roots are up in the sky, heaven, and its branches are here on the lower plane, earth. Urdhva Mula, its roots are up there, and its branches spread down below you. The roots are in heaven, in the transcendental, and from there the tree spreads out here. That is the kingly tree. It is the tree whose roots, whose origin is up there in the transcendent, and therefore it is always a fortunate tree. It is always a fortunate tree. Now there is a little anecdote about the fig of this big tree, small little fig, you see, and like fig, and small seeds are there, hundreds of them, and it is from that. So on one occasion, Narad wanted to find out who is the true bhakta on the earth. Vishnu had told him, go to the earth and find out who is the true bhakta, devotee of me. And then he went around here, there, everywhere, and he saw one cobbler working with his job, busy with his job, under a banyan tree on the outskirts of the village. And then he asked, Narad, yes, you are coming from the house of Vishnu, from heaven, from Vaikuntha. You know everything what is happening there. So can you please tell me what is Vishnu busy with at the moment in heaven? What is busy with? Then Narad was telling him, look, Vishnu is very busy to push an elephant to the eye of a needle. He is busy with that, you see. And then this cobbler, he says, yes, wonderful. Yes, surely. It is only Vishnu who can do that, who can push the elephant to the eye of a needle. And then Narada was surprised, how do you say that? I cannot imagine such a thing happening. Then he told Narad, look, you go and pick up one of the figs from the tree there. Open it out. What do you see there? He says, Narad says, I see thousands of trees, thousands of seeds in a tree fig. Now, if Vishnu can push in a small little seed, a huge tree like this, banyan tree, then it's no wonder that he can push the elephant to the eye of the needle. He can do that kind of a thing. And then Narad recognized at that time, yes, he is a true bhakta, true devotee. Narad was asking Vishnu, please show me some true bhakta in the world, where it is. And Vishnu had pointed out, go and meet at cobbler, you see, and see that thing, you see. He saw the true bhakta there, you see. Yes, Vishnu can push the elephant to the needle, to the eye of the needle, you see. So that is the kingly tree, that is the fig tree, the tree of creation. That is how it is symbolized. So it is under the tree of creation that Savitri is taking Satyavan there. It is under that tree of creation that he is going to get new life. It is under that tree that new life will dawn and flourish here. That fig tree which is there, that little seed which is there, in this tremendous hour, transplant seed. That is what we got in the boon. You see? Yeah. A seed shall be sown in this tremendous hour. A seed shall be sown in this tremendous hour. That is what we got here. Lean beneath a fortunate, therefore, it is a fortunate tree. Rich tree, you see, fortunately. It is the tree of creation, Ashwatha. Its roots are up there, indestructible. It spreads its branches all around, you see. But lean beneath a fortunate kingly trunk, naturally, it is that kind of a thing which would give assurance to Satyavan that perhaps because thou touchest, death may pass. It is that thing which gives him that assurance that death may pass. It is that fortunate kingly trunk. She is very powerful. See, in just 3 words, the entire history is kind of packed. Packed in the sense that in that fig tree, the seed of that tree, little seed, the whole tree is packed. In the same manner, fortunate kingly trunk, in that phrase is packed the whole essence of Savitri. The entire essence of epic poem Savitri is kind of packed, you see. Fortunate kingly trunk. She guarded him in her bosom and strove to soothe his anguished brow and body with her hands. All grief and fear were dead within her now. Now, this is the miraculous thing. See, it is a moment of intense grief and fear, but they have stopped to be there. Savitri has transcended them. She has gone beyond that. Such intensity of purpose is there in her that nothing counts to her. The intensity of purpose. Grief and fear are dead. And a great calm had fallen. It is that intensity of purpose. It is that which gives her the great calm. The wish to lessen his suffering. He is suffering. She sees that. Even that wish also stops. That little human element which is there in Savitri, that also ceases to exist. The wish to lessen his suffering, the impulse that opposes pain, were the one mortal feeling left. They were there existing, but then even that passed. Even that vanished. Such is the intensity of the purpose. Even that passed. Grief and strong, she waited like the gods. Griefless and strong, she waited like the gods. Now here, she waited like the gods. That is all you have to see. For the opportune moment to come, for the things to happen, she is waiting like the gods. But she is not, she is waiting for the God. But the gods are not griefless and strong. They have never seen grief. Strong, she waited like God.